Hello, this is Cho of the Shiny Colors Discord. Welcome to another episode of the Shiny Review. Today we have 4 cards we need to talk about. A new Produce SSR for Rinze, as well as support SSRs for Kogane, Hinata, and Tenka. Remember that Rinze and Kogane are limited. Their banner will be over on the 11th, so if you want to get the cards now, this is your only chance to do so. Let's start things off with Rinze. Congratulations to Rinze and Kogane for letting Shiny reach over 100 limited cards before we begin. Now, Rinze 7 is purely dance focused, being able to buff up your team's stats while also drastically raising your attention through either of her appeals. Her link appeals can also fill your memory gauge by 50% each, though the likelihood of using this link appeal in a typical fest is quite frankly low. If you're familiar with Rinze 4, she's exactly the same card with a bonus. Said bonus is that thanks to the power of being a modern limited SSR, she has a 4-star passive that solidifies her as a Hokuda support, granting a 100% buff if you use their whole team. Rinze 7 falls into some particular trappings, namely being that as a center, you don't want to use her appeals. You'll want to unlock each of her passives as soon as possible. She's a great card to help revive the spirit of Dance Hokuda, though she may be a little bit expensive for the average player. Her roles are center, buffer, memory gauge booster, and can raise attention, and I moderately to highly recommend pulling for Rinze. If you play Hokuda, especially Dance Hokuda, she is an invaluable asset to your team. If you are just playing a generic dance team, she can still have her uses. Rinze's initial skill is a Dance 3.5 appeal that raises your dance by 80% for 2 turns and your attention by 155% for 4 turns. This links into a memory gauge 50% boost. The max version of this skill is a Dance 5.0 appeal that raises your dance by 120% for 2 turns, and raises your attention again by 155% for 4 turns, and links into the same memory gauge 50% boost. Her 1-star passive is a Dance 40% up and memory gauge 20% up that requires the turn count to be 4 or earlier. This has a 20% chance to activate once. Her 2-star passive is a Dance 75% up that requires the turn count to be 4 or later. This has a 30% chance to activate 3 times, and also unlocks an additional Dance plus 50 uncap. At 3 stars, Rinze gains a Dance 150 and Dance 50 uncap, and at 4 stars, she gains a Dance 100% up passive that requires the full Hokago Climax Girls lineup. This means that on the stage you need Kaho, Rinze, Natsuha, Juri, and Choco in order for this to activate. It has a 20% chance to activate 3 times maximum. The memory appeal when maxed out is a Dance 2.0 appeal that follows up with a maximum Dance 4.0 appeal that scales based on how high your attention is. For the support recommendations, the real advantage of Rinze in this case is that her support lineup has not changed drastically, outside of a potential new inclusion of Daikichi Kogane from this banner. Kaho, Natsuha, and Juri are a great trio to work with, and Mamimi complements the risks that kind of build can set up for with the higher attention, as you'll want to maybe have her kind of passive in order to help boost your damage. Kiriko is also an option, though lower than 30% health is a little more tricky than 50% compared to Mamimi. Now as for the backups, Hokuda have a reasonable assortment of backup cards for dance, though not nearly as strong as their previous counterparts. Natsuha lacks a good dance card outside of her limited variant, so you may use a Choco for your mental idea instead. There is the backup limited Juri. You also have now access to cards like Amana, or Osaki, or Meguru, who are all very reasonable options for dance teams. As for the team recommendation, as if they heard my gripes back with Kaho 6 and Choco 6, we have our newest iteration of Dance Hokuda. With this setup, we attempt to make the most of the new duet mechanic, setting up for a Rinze memory appeal on turn 3, thanks to cards like the recent Christmas Juri support letting us rely on Juri herself less. There's an argument to be made about which Kaho you can choose, but we'll establish this core idea for now with Kaho 6. Now, expect to attempt many runs until you find that sweet spot turn 3 rotation and let Rinze do all the work. Your alternative cards may include Kaho 4 or even Kaho 1 if you don't want to use Kaho 6, Choco 3 is an alternative to Choco 6, and Natsuha 4 is an alternative to Natsuha 2. Kaho 4 grants you some memory gauge boosting as well as some attention raising. Choco 3 has an alternate memory appeal if you don't want to use Rinze as your center and would rather use her as a leader. And Natsuha has not very many dance options that are particularly significant, so whichever Natsuha works best for you will work for the team. On to the grades. As a center, I would say Rinze earns an S+ to a SS-. As it stands, Rinze7 is Dance Hokura's best center, tied with Choco 3. The damage distribution is weighed heavier on the Link appeal compared to Choco, so it's even more important to set up your appeals as quick as possible. Rinze's memory appeal also depends slightly less on attention, letting her operate a bit more consistently than Choco. If anything, the big takeaway is that Rinze finally has a card that is worthy to be a true center. As a unit, very similar grades, S+ to SS-. As you might have already guessed, I typically grade support S cards very highly, because they work on multiple teams, not just one, and Rinze is no exception. She doesn't get completely perfect marks for this, however, as she traded out her ability to support all attributes in favor of focusing purely on dance, compared to Rinze 4 and Rinze 5, who raise all attributes, making them much more flexible for other teams. This one is built very much only for dance, so take that into account. For the sake of how Gradefest functions nowadays, this makes more sense, but lends to be less versatile than something like Rinze 4 or Rinze 5. Her passives are fantastic, and overall, she's a quality card. Next up we have Kogane. Our first support of the new year is Kogane, a dance support with a whole slew of abilities to make use of. She has taken Mamimi 7's interest reversal and placed it on her 4-star appeal, and also features passives that requires your team's max mental to exceed 3000, which takes her a bit out of the running for critical HP builds. She offers a ton of mental and SP building, and can keep you healthy in the 2 rooms you need her in most. If you're running any dance team at all, Kogane is a great pickup and should play nice with all of your setups. Her support skills are Idol's Bond and Rest Boost, and she has 5 unique support skills. Dance Mastery SP reaching plus 16 at level 70, Tension Mastery Mental Plus reaching plus 10 at level 80, Unit Mastery Dance reaching plus 6 at level 65, Dance Mastery Stamina reaching plus 3 at level 75, and Radio Mastery Stamina reaching plus 3 at 75. Her support appeal does scale, starting at a Dance 3.0 out of the box, becoming a 3.1 at level 60, and working its way up to a 3.5 at level 80. Her TFD idea is Appeal, her Insight token for Grad is Mental, and her proficiency and landing point is also Mental. Kogane's 1-star passive is a Dance 50% up that requires your maximum mental to be 3000 or more. This has a 10% chance to activate 3 times. Her 2-star passive is a Dance 120% up that requires your maximum mental to be 3000 or higher, and the turn count to be 4 or later. This has a 30% chance to activate once. Her 3-star uncap is a plus 100 to dance, and her 4-star appeal is a Dance 3.5 that raises the judge's interest by 50% for 3 turns, and applies interest reversal for 2 turns. Her event passive is a Dance 30% up that requires Kogane on your team, and it has a 20% chance to activate twice. Kogane earns an S+ to a SS-. Kogane holds a very important distinction, which is that she's a rare mental idea dance support who actively can support more than just her primary unit. This title is only shared with Summer Natsuha from 2020, and these two together act as a fantastic foundation for anyone looking to get into grad with dance. As long as you can build around this Kogane's passives, you have yourself a phenomenal support in practically all situations, and she's definitely worth pulling for. So I very highly recommend pulling for this Kogane, especially if you are playing Antika, Dance Antika specifically, or just a dance team, and need that little extra bump. Next we have Hinana. Our event SSR for this round is Hinana, a vocal support whose big incentive is her 20% evasion via her 4-star appeal. Vocal Mastery Vocal is okay, though I believe many would have preferred another option for SP generation like the Halloween Michika from a few months back. She's not some insanely powerful support for Vocal or for Nocchill, but she can act as a buffer point until the better Vocal Hinana is re-released, which is very likely to be this year, if I were to take a guess. Her support skills are Idol's Bond, Promised Recovery, Rest Boost, and Stamina support, and her unique support skill is Vocal Mastery Vocal reaching plus 8 at level 75. Her support appeal does scale, starting at a Vocal 2.5 out of the box, becoming a 2.6 at level 60, becoming a 3.0 at level 80. Her TFD idea is Visual, her Insight token for Grad is Dance, and her proficiencies and landing point are in Vocal and Visual. Hinana's 1-star passive is a Vocal 18% up that requires you to be in the Vocal position. This has a 30% chance to activate once. Her 2-star passive is a Vocal 35% up that requires the turn count to be 4 or earlier. This has a 30% chance to activate once. Her 3-star uncap is a Vocal plus 50, and her 4-star appeal is a Vocal 2.8 that applies a 20% evasion buff for 3 turns. Her event passive is a Vocal 20% up that requires Hinana on your team, and it has a 40% chance to activate twice. Hinana earns a B+. Another perfectly fine event support. Her 20% evasion will help a little bit for your Nocchill teams, but this Hinata will act as filler for those who missed out on Rookie Hinata from a while back. We may see a rerun of that support this year as we get closer to the summer, so let's keep an eye out if you're an aspiring vocal Nocchill producer, or if schedules are anything to sort of believe in. You can use this Hinata until then. So I would recommend you might as well farm for Hinata while she's here. Lastly, we have Tenka. Our third Grade Fest exclusive support is Tenka, who acts as the dance support for audition-focused teams. Much of what I said with the past two cards still stands. As you climb your way up the Grade Fest ladder, definitely pick up copies of this card as you can. This is a bit more time sensitive, but you may opt for Fuyuko first if you're just recently starting, as her cards will be going away the soonest. But if dance is your thing for True Ends or S-rank runs, then consider Tenka as a fairly high priority support. Her support skills are Idol's Bond, Promise Recovery, and Rest Boost, and she has 3 unique support skills. Dance Mastery Dance reaching +8 level 75, Audition Mastery SP reaching +10 at level 80, and Audition Mastery Mental reaching +5 at level 70. Now, her support appeal, much like other support cards, does scale, starting at a Dance 3.0, working its way up to a 3.5 at level 80. Her TFD idea is visual, her Insight Token for Grad is visual, and her proficiency and landing point is in Dance. Tenka's 1-star passive is a dance 20% up that requires you to be in the dance position. This has a 30% chance to activate once. This also unlocks a dance +30 uncap. At 2 stars, she gets a dance 35% up that requires the turn count to be 3 or later. This has a 30% chance to activate once. At 3 stars, she actually unlocks an appeal, a dance 2.8 that raises your dance by 25% for 3 turns, and you also get another dance +50 uncap. Tenka has a 4-star passive, a dance 50% up that requires Tenka on your team and it has a 30% chance to activate once, and her event passive is a dance 30% up that requires the turn count to be 2 or later, and it has a 20% chance to activate twice. Tenka earns a B to an A+. Much like the previous SSRs from the Fest shop, Tenka is a fantastic comfort support for those who aim for True Ends and S-rank idols, allowing for a steady amount of mental and SP growth through auditions, but much like Rinze has to compete with another SSR on her own. That being said, she's still worth the pickup for dance players or if you just want that extra stat gain in Wing, so I highly recommend farming for this Tenka while she's available. And that will do it for the video today. Thank you so much as always for watching. I hope you also enjoyed the Wing True End video this week. I wanted to throw something together because I felt like this video was going to take a little bit, as it ended up doing, so I wanted something to kind of fill the gap there. Next time we'll be talking about whatever banner comes next, or, depending on how I feel, I may get the chance to record a grad or landing point run to have up here on the channel as well. Till next time, I've been Cho, thanks for watching, have a wonderful rest of your day.